Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing The Other Way, episode 17. So, I think we only have one more episode before we catch up with Toe, so that'll be done. So let's do some hot goss before we jump into the episode. So this is Golden Bachelorette related. If we remember Michael Stevens, I don't think he was there for very long. I confused him, I don't know why, between him and Dan, but they're kind of similar in their look. But he has come out to say this. So actually, I think this is actually part of the Men Tell All episode, but we'll talk about it here. I will be talking about the episode as well, so I haven't gotten to that yet, but he shared a health update with the men. The contestant revealed that he was diagnosed with cancer before coming on the show. When he found out his diagnosis, he was not sure he wanted to do the show anymore, which is totally understandable. But he said that his kids encouraged him to go through with the experience. What could have been a really lousy, difficult year was a great one. He's like, I'm gonna be fine. It was caught early, and I want to thank this terrific group of guys, and I want to thank Joan. Oh my god, I'm not gonna cry. Because I'm grateful for that experience. Michael said he was particularly moved when the proceeds from the Chippendales group date went to stand up to cancer. During the group date, many of the men expressed that they were grateful to be able to support the cause as they had lost loved ones to cancer. So at the Men Tell All apparently as well, which again we will talk about, Jesse announced that ABC would be matching their donation to stand up to cancer. So that's really great. Michael's family was in the audience for support, and he thanked everyone for making his experience on the show so special. So he was eliminated during week 2. I didn't remember exactly when he was gone. So after sharing his cancer diagnosis on the Men Tell All, Michael received support from viewers online saying, "How brave to share your diagnosis on the Golden Bachelorette Men Tell All. Grateful this journey allowed you moments of laughter as you're treated for cancer. Quiet strength always prevails." Another user said, "I hope Michael finds love." Hashtag the Golden Bachelorette. The bonds you guys made during this adventure far outweighs the journey for love, as true friendship is the greatest source of true love. And I totally agree. So yeah, I just spoiled myself. I know how this turns out. I think I kind of already knew though. With who's left, but that was really sweet. I'm happy he's doing good. But again, we'll talk more about that during the season. I do have some more stuff Bachelorette related, Golden Bachelorette related. I'll be holding off on that though until we get through the season, so I don't say anything here that is too soon. So let's get into the reason that we are here. So Toe, season 6, episode 17, Donna Mia. Here we go again. This is the only reason their storyline could have been any good, if Donna was there the entire time. But Donna wasn't there because Donna just feels like a man should come and meet her. So otherwise, their season really sucked. Or their storyline really sucked otherwise. And she pisses me off. Anyways, so let's start with Corona and Ingi. So, y'all, we're at the Penis Museum. Okay. We have this stallion, the exceptional breeder. We got the sperm whale, which has a huge, huge monster dick. And then she does say here, and I do agree, where's the vagina museum? Amen, girl. And she says people could have a lot to learn from a vagina museum. And honestly, men in particular. Because women know where the clit is. Men don't, you know? So they have a picture, I think it was a picture. I'm going to assume it was a picture of Jimi Hendrix's penis. And from Corona's reaction, I'm going to say Jimmy made women very happy in his life. I'm just saying. Whoa. Anyway, and she's like, okay, Jimmy. Anyway, they have this food that's called penis waffles. So Corona basically tells her friends, school's gonna be tough, and she fills them in on how that is. We're not gonna rehash it. But she wishes that Ingi would be more obsessed with her. She says she'll walk into a room wearing something sexy, and he's like, okay, cool, and just goes on with his life. And she's like, I want his dick to just stand up at attention, basically, which we have talked about this before. So basically, her friends are like, so you want her to basically like a fuck immediately. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what she wants. And she says, in the last year, okay, she's only had sex 4 times. And I'm assuming those times were all with him. I don't know. But her friend is like, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. And I agree. I'm so sorry for your trouble. Like, 4 times? So basically once every quarter? What? I don't, I don't, no. No. Um, and she said, well, in his defense, here's what happened. I broke his penis. Um, it was a bloodbath. It was very traumatic for Ingi, so I think now he's scared to have sex because of it. And here's what I'm going to say, Ingi, get over it. And that's kind of what her friends say as well, is get over it, because like it was a one-time thing, hopefully, God forbid. So you're going to be fine, because story time. I think I've told the story before, but story time. My ex, when we had sex, this was, I think, the second time we had sex, long time ago. And because it's never happened before with me, so this was very memorable for me. I was the one on top. And let's just say he looked like he was in a lot of pain. And I could tell, because I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And I don't want to say it was a bloodbath or anything, but he was definitely in pain. Something happened. We don't know what, but something happened. And do you think that stopped him? Absolutely not. In that moment, he's like, I want to keep going. But I was like, no, because we don't want to ruin it. So we want to make sure it's still working. Okay. So yeah, like it's, I don't understand. Like, get over it. You're going to be fine. You'll live to tell the tale. Like, what? So she's like, I can understand that, maybe he's a little, on the, wanted to take his time with that because he's scared. But he has 10 fingers in a mouth. Like, he could find other ways to pleasure me. Yeah, I agree. If the dick doesn't want to work, well, your fingers and your tongue is going to do just fine. I figure it out. There's other ways of intimacy. Like, do something. Anyway, she doesn't know if he wants to get married because, as we know, she wants to. Her friend asks in this moment, so when were you guys official? Like, when were you guys, like, exclusive? And she says, 6 months ago. She's like, why? Well, because I saw him talking to women in the club. And she's like, oh, is that so? Huh. Were they kissing? Were they making out? What's going on? And we're like, no, just chatting, nothing crazy. And she's like, okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's gonna be fine. So, y'all's not gonna be fine. So, in the next scene, it's date night with them. She asks him, um, or he asked her, I think, how the Penis Museum was, and she's like, it was fun. But let's get into the real reason why we're here talking. So apparently you've been talking to other women. What's up with that? And he's like, well, they're just friends. I'm talking to people, I don't want to talk to the wall or something. That's something he says at some point. But he does look very nervous. Did anyone notice he looked very nervous now? In any other situation where this was an actual real relationship at this point, I would think differently. But because this is a fake relationship at this point, he was single, he was doing his own thing, who cares? And he's like, was I seen doing anything? She's like, were you doing anything? No, I was just curious, that's all. I want to know what they saw. And he says he has nothing to hide. He likes to be social. And she says, I want reassurances. Like, do you see us getting married at some point? He's like, do people usually get married after 6 months of dating? No, they don't. You're correct. Or they shouldn't anyways. Do people actually move to another country though, is what she says back to him? And I'm like, that's also true. Because again, like you can only stay in another country for so long if you're not married. Um, And she's like, I came from a country, or sorry, he says, I came from a country of atheists. So it's not really important. And I said, wait a minute, atheists don't get married? Marriage, like he's confusing marriage as being just in Catholicism or a religion, and it's not. You can do civil ceremonies. You don't have to do religious ceremonies. I mean, people do marriage because they want to have that commitment because it has nothing to. I understand where he's coming from because I too do not believe marriage and religion or go hand in hand. That's my belief. I don't think you have to be religious to get married. And I don't think you need to be married to be religious. You know what I mean? So I get that, what he's saying, but I just don't understand why he's equating the two together because he's an atheist. He doesn't want to get married. Like, doesn't make any sense. Um, so yeah, he says not important. She says, but your parents are married and your brother is married. Like, I don't, we know that his parents are Catholic. I don't know where his brother identifies as. Um, but again, let's just pretend for a minute his brother doesn't believe and he's either atheist or agnostic or whatever. He's married. Like, I feel like his reasons for not wanting to get married is because he doesn't want to get married. And just say that you don't want to get married. And he says, like, it was for practical reasons, which she takes offense to, which I would as well. But again, I am going to challenge him here and say, well, wouldn't you think her being able to stay in a country would be a practical reason? I'm just saying. So he says it doesn't mean anything to him. Getting married doesn't mean much to him. He just doesn't have to put a ring on her finger in order to prove his loyalty to her or his commitment to her, which I also understand and I also am behind him on. But if this is what she wants and you know this is what she wants, then why wouldn't you make sure you're there or tell her I'm not there and you guys can go accordingly? And she says, but I showed you rings that I want like months ago. And he's like, well, maybe that was a joke. And she's like, why would I joke about that? Again, I agree with her. Why would she joke about that? But at the same time, I do have more thoughts and feelings that I'm definitely saving for the next episode. So I'm not going to say it here, but it's just, it doesn't make no sense. So she says, I wouldn't, I think at some point he's like trying to, I guess, say, okay, I can get there kind of thing. And she says, well, I don't want to be married to someone who doesn't actually want to marry me. And he kind of says nothing to that. And she just gets up and walks away. So that's basically it there. Let's go to the next. We got James and Tatha next. So they are going out and they are going to go get some like fruit. And he sees I think it's durian, right? Which I know the one that smells really bad. And he's like, oh yeah, I've seen this before, but doesn't it smell bad? And yeah. And when she opens it, he's like, oh, it's pretty cool inside. And then he says the skin was taken off, and he's like, oh God, no, no, it's bad. He still tries it though, which is props to you because I wouldn't have done it. He still tries it by closing his nose, so maybe smell, like if he can't smell it, it'll be better, which that doesn't work. And he's still like, oh God. And he spits it out. People are laughing at him. And he says, it tastes and smells like rotting flesh. And I said, sir, how do you know what rotting flesh smells like? I just got questions. That's it. Anyway, he tries something else that's a little more on the sour side, but he says it's a lot better than that. So he's fine with it. So we find out that her sister Angel is going to be coming, and him and Angel do not get along. And you know what? I don't like her either. They, meaning Angel and Tatha, were very close. We used to do everything together. And I mean everything. But then a few years ago, when, James came into the picture, things changed. She feels that James stole her away from her. Angel feels this way. And I'm just like, you're unstable. More on that later. But he said something, or she said something about him. Basically, what she said is she started spreading some lies to the family about how she knew this person or has a friend in the States. This friend was kind of like saying how she knows him and how he was like mistreating women, which he's like, she don't have no friends in the States. But of course her family doesn't know this, so that was not great. So they ended up blocking her for a year due to this. She did apologize 2 years ago, but Tata feels like the apology was genuine, so she believed her. Whereas James is like, I don't know about that. Like he's still very guarded by it. So yeah. But then in the next scene, we see Angel's here, and even though like I don't particularly like her, I think there needs to be some separation, and there's some separation anxiety between these two girls. It's in particular Angel. Them seeing each other for the first time in 3 years was really, really sweet. So yeah, they haven't seen each other for 3 years. And when she gets there, she sees Tato is like on the balcony, so she sees her and she's like, Tata! And it was very sweet. And she says hi to her, but not a damn thing to James. And when he's like, hi, to her, she's like, yeah. Like, literally, her face was like, ew. Like, ew, I'm not talking to you. Like, she got, like, the ick just by ew. Like, it was funny. And he says he's very nervous. And as we know, when he's very nervous, he laughs. We've seen that before already in the beginning of the episode of the show. He's just laughing. And he explains, like, he's clearly probably has some sort of syndrome. There's a syndrome, like if you laugh inappropriately or whatever, there's something for that. So, and I totally get it. Sometimes I can smile in weird situations as well. Like it's absolutely inappropriate, but like you have to kind of control it. But that's not easy. So I totally get where he's coming from. But, so yeah, he's having that situation. And he says, he's not going to poke the bear right now because, he had to talk to Tata about potentially going back to the States. So he doesn't want to poke the bear right now. He wants to wait. We're going to be fine. Okay. But he says that, it was or I think she says that it's was kind of like that you left me for someone who you just met. But this is her husband. Clearly it worked out for the best. Like, you can't get over it. Like, I don't know what to say, but um she doesn't trust him. And she says to him, like, you came here and you stole my sister away. Again, there is some situations here in terms of separations. And she's like, I can't just give her to everyone or something like that. I'm just like, is this up to you? Like, what's happening? She's happy because they are moving here though, so maybe this can help repair relationships. Maybe. Um, but she does question, like, when she hears that they're gonna be moving there, she questions it and she's like, what are you gonna do here? So you're upset that he can't provide for her because she kind of mentions that. But at the same time, you're upset because he'll take her away where he can provide for her. Make up your mind. I'm so confused by her. I don't know, maybe live your life. Like, you live in, where was she living in? Is she in Jakarta? Or is she? Where did they say she is? I can't remember if it's Jakarta that she's in. But you're doing your own thing away from them anyways. What difference does it make? Anyway, that's it for James and Tata. Let's talk Joanne and Sean. This is very quick because, again, I'm very bored of the storyline, but this is going to be very quick because we do have Donna. Sean is going to be meeting Donna, and she's like, so, you're my son-in-law, and I'm only just meeting you now. What the hell? And she's like, I need an answer. And he apologizes, realizes whatever. And she's like, okay, so where do you go from here? Are you taking my kid and my grandkids away from me? And she says that the the days that they've been back home, the kids, Joey hasn't really said much. Jesse said a little bit here and there, but Joey really hasn't said anything. And Joanne says, yeah, I also haven't heard from him. So she doesn't know if it's maybe him processing things that's happened or if he's just really upset with his mom. I'll go for the latter. Or both, honestly. I think it's both. Um, she says that she kind of realizes that they are maybe a little more upset than she thought they would be. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you really think that your kids are not going to be upset that you betrayed them, that you didn't come out and say what you needed to say to them for not a month or two or three, 2 years? 2 years, my girl. Like, come on. Yeah. And you're also talking about potentially upending the lives they know. Yeah, that's a lot for a kid, no matter how old they are. Um, but she says that they just got things to figure out and they're gonna figure it out. Um, and Donna says, well, don't you think you should have maybe figured that out before? Yeah. We were in the moment, they say, and Donna, like me, is like, oh, really? Yeah. You're grown. You can't just be in the moment. You're grown ass people. Ugh, can't with them. Anyways, that's basically that. Yeah, so then we do have Josh and Lily. That's the last for this episode. So Josh and Lily, which is actually just Vivian and Lily. So Vivian and Lily are they're at a market and Rolex is with them as well. And apparently apparently Josh told Jared, who told Lily, that Josh is going to be doing better. And all I could think about in this moment was, Rob told me to tell you that Seamus told him that Dean told him that Pavarti told her that that Hagrid's looking for you. It just made me think about that because I'm like, wait a minute. I love that movie. I love that scene. I'm not an owl. Yep. Anyway. But Vivian asks in this moment, like, how's your sex life? Which takes Lily aback a little bit. Like, why are you asking me a question like this? She asked, when was the last time you guys had sex? And she said 7 months. And I said, I'm sorry, what? Like, he's been here this entire time and he hasn't tried once to have sex with you? That's weird. That's really weird. I don't understand. And she said, my God, your hymen's gonna grow back. I love her daughter. Her daughter is hilarious because, I mean, scientifically, no, but I like it. And Vivian says that, how, like, this isn't gonna work. And she says, all he does is criticize her. Is that love? No, it's not love. But anyways, that's it for this episode. It was a little shorter, but that's it for this episode. So the next thing we're going to talk about is episode 18, which is the last episode that makes us be all caught up and stuff with the rest. So that's where we're going to be at. So we'll try to make sure we stay on top of it after that, even if I have to focus on B90, but that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, again, just as a reminder, we are going to have an announcement soon to talk about what to expect for Christmas coming up soon, what's going to kind of be happening. I do have some ideas of what I kind of want to do with that. That's kind of in my mind here. So we'll be doing that. We will be talking about it sometime next week, what to expect. But until then, that is it for this episode. I realize that this next week, but it's technically going to be this week because I think I'm going to be releasing this on Monday. So it'll be sometime this week, but I'm still recording this on a Friday. So, but yeah, that is now it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.